All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers? What the fuck buddies? What the fuck nicks? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast. Welcome to it. Today, I talked to Nick Kroll. Now, Nick has been on a lot. This is the sixth time he's been on the show. By himself on episode 12, that's a long time ago. With John Mulaney on episode 743. And as El Chupacabra on 3 other occasions. And those are rare because I doubt that you could really do that character anymore. He's in the new film, I Don't Understand You, and the final season of Big Mouth is now streaming on Netflix. And Nick, I guess, I have to kind of give credit where credit is due. And I think I do, usually. But it's an interesting thing as a comic or as someone who is me. When I really think people are funny, it is such an exciting thing for me. And forever, I believe, and I still believe this to this day, that Nick Kroll naturally, just innately, is really one of the funniest people around. And, I think I kind of tell him that to his face. I don't know. Did I? Maybe I hold back a little bit. But truly a very funny, gifted, overly talented person. How could I just make being talented kind of a slight? He's overly talented. But I get a big kick out of him. And it's always fun to talk to the guy. And in another way, I guess another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about because it seems to be kind of possessing me. Well, first, I want to mention Brent Weinbach, who was on episode 839, has a new special out, new stand-up special. It's called Brent Weinbach Popular Culture, and you can watch that on YouTube right now. Now, he's a whole other ball of wax. I don't know if you know Brent, but that is a world of comedy where it's sort of... I don't know how you would describe it. There is a school of comedy that it kind of moves through anti-comedy and kind of hyper-abstract comedy and just oddball-ish comedy, but stuff that's challenging, maybe a little cringy. And for the most part in my life, not totally my cup of tea, really. I can appreciate it, and I know when it's done well. And, I did have some moments when I watched that Andy Kaufman doc that, made me rethink it, or maybe I'm older and I'm less stuck in my ways around, what I think stand-up is or what I think comedy is. I've definitely broadened my mind. But I will say this, and the only reason I'm talking about it, it's not some sort of plug, but I'm surprised at my own experience and reaction to it, because I've struggled with Nathan Fielder just as an artist for a while, because there's something fundamentally about him that makes me uncomfortable. It's not that I don't like him. There's just certain people that make me uncomfortable. And it is part of his thing. I mean, he does either intentionally or just by being challenge you to reckon with him. And I've watched a few of his shows. I watched the first season of The Rehearsal. I watched The Curse, which I think was the beginning of my moment with Fielder, was the last episode of The Curse. I liked the first season of The Rehearsal. I thought it had all the elements of cringe and impact and humanity. But the last episode of The Curse, the thing he did with I guess, who was it, Josh Safdie or Ben? Which one is it? One of those Safdies and Emma Stone. There is, rarely in a series, and I'm finding this more so than not, do I have the patience to get through it? And, there have been some sort of, some comedy series, but most series in general, once the premise is set up, and then you're in it. And then, after a few episodes of that, it's sort of like, all right, I get it. Now what? There's just a redundancy to it. And then they'll throw a new character in, which is clearly, you can tell, written in to keep the thing going. It just drags out. I'm not sure that anything really needs to be more than 6 episodes. in general. That aside, this new season of The Rehearsal, Nathan Fielder's thing, I can't seem to shut up about it because it is so rare. And look, this is only my opinion, but it's so rare that there is something that is created that actually possesses true genius. I know this sounds, why am I talking about this? Because I really believe that there is something comedically genius in a way that no one's ever seen before about this particular season of this show, The Rehearsal. Because I don't even know that I can explain it, but the fact that, he is supported and given money to realize this completely unique and fucked up, weird vision of exploring things is first a testament to HBO, and in terms of, who they choose to support and produce and believe in. But where this show starts and where it ends up, and the kind of thing where, Fielder, who is kind of a mysterious guy, and, it kind of, I think, I don't know if he refuses to do this show, but he won't do it. Because I think he's got not so much a lot to hide, but a certain mystique to maintain. I know that he started in stand-up as sort of an anti-comic, which always used to annoy me. But now, over time, he has found this zone of his own comedy through these shows that is just completely unique, completely bizarre, completely uncomfortable, and just utterly fucking inspired. And you got to wait for it. But it's so rare that you're waiting for something to unfold, and it's satisfying and kind of mind-bending and just kind of like, what the fuck? This is crazy! And laughing. But boy, what is it? The third episode of this season of The Rehearsal, and all of them, he's exploring air safety. He nerded out on, he obsessively researched an issue, a very specific issue in air safety, which is that a lot of airline crashes were preceded by an argument or a lack of communication in the cockpit. So what he sets out to do at the beginning of this season of The Rehearsal is try to solve that problem. How do we get pilots and co-pilots communicating more openly so you don't have this sort of ego issue of someone deciding not to do something that the co-pilot may suggest? How do you open up the lines of communication so there's other thoughts in moments of crisis that are communicated in the cockpit? That is the premise of this show. And from there, you just move through some of Nathan's experiences in, trying to get shows made and getting shows sort of taken off servers. You kind of deal with some of his own, what you'd assume psychological problems are. And then he, through the course of unfolding this system or experiment to try to get pilots communicating better, you see a lot of elements of him trying to be resolved. So, he is actually changing through, him as himself, I assume as himself, is changing through this thing. And then his comedy chops, which are very intentional, because you can't produce a show like this. There's a lot of improv and a lot of actors brought in. There's a talent show element, but through the course of him trying to resolve this air safety problem, he's reckoning with himself, his past, his creativity, his job, his neurological disposition. It ultimately becomes all about him. But the lengths he goes to get there, either intentionally or not, are fucking insane and inspired, and it's comedic genius. And I don't want to say that, because I'm an insecure, jealous, resentful old fuck who is not always willing to give it up. But I got to give it up. And, it might not be for you. He may not be for you, but I think that you should force yourself to just let it happen, man. To just let it happen. because there's a level of cringe comedy in there. It's just rare somebody pulls something out of their brain and then manifests it with a good amount of money that is completely original and inspired. And I think that if you want to talk about comedy as art, if you want to do that, which I'm wary to do generally, maybe you can talk about it cinematically, as a comedy movie or whatever. But if you want to talk about comedy as art, and art in the broad sense of the word, where you're really just talking about freedom of expression and a commitment to a vision that is provocative and new, this is it. So there you go, Nathan. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, and I was reluctant to do it. But congratulations for the great mind-bending, inspired work of genius that you've contributed to what is sort of a flailing period in comedy of all kinds. This episode is sponsored by Squarespace, and life is easier for us thanks to Squarespace. That's because our website, WTFpod.com, is a big part of what we do. And with Squarespace, we never have to worry about updates or bugs or not being able to post something that we want to post. Squarespace has it all covered. Plus, Squarespace gives you everything you need to offer services and get paid, all in one place. From consultations to events and experiences, showcase your offerings with a customizable website designed to attract clients and grow your business. You'll get paid on time with professional invoices and online payments, plus streamline your workflow with built-in appointment scheduling and email marketing tools. And with Blueprint AI, Squarespace helps you design a fully custom website in just a few steps. Check out squarespace.com/WTF for a free trial. And then when you're all set to launch your new site, use offer code WTF to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/WTF. Offer code WTF. Oh, yeah, I did see another movie, too. I went to see Friendship because, again, in talking about comedy brilliance, Tim Robinson, I've been brought around to him. He is a brilliant and inspired and gifted buffoon of a very specific type, a great clown. And that character that he plays, which seems to be the character he plays, is kind of spectacular. The idea of the completely narcissistic, aggravated buffoon is it's relative to the time we live in. That is the strain of human disposition that is very prominent in the world we're living in now. So I think there is a reflection of that in him, and he's tremendously funny. And I think you should leave the show always. I'm not unlike Fielder. There's a zone that these guys get into where you can't predict it, you can't figure it out, you don't know where it comes from, but it is pure comedy. So anyway, Nick Kroll is here, and again, one of my favorite funny people. The film he's in, I Don't Understand You, comes out Friday, June 6th. The final season of Big Mouth is streaming on Netflix. You can watch all 8 seasons there as well. And this is me and Nick Kroll. Oh, good. So I gotta, these are the kind of texts you get after a certain point. From my dad's wife. Mark, your father's funeral arrangements are completed. I signed the paperwork and payment today. Thank you. We love you, Dad and Rosie. That's a load off.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, I mean, on some level, you're blessed in that there are a lot of people who they or their partner are not capable of that.
No, yeah, and she was obsessing about it, and she was like coming up a little short, and I'm like, dude, it's my dad. I'll send you the money. I have no kids.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of things I want to pay for.
I chose not to have kids so I could pay for my dad's death.
Not worry about it.
Yeah, just not worry about it.
Not take too big. You just take care of it as long as I don't have to be there.
Yeah.
That's the best part of this. Please just stay alive.
Just keep it all going. Hang in there.
Yeah.
But when it comes, and it will.
Yeah, I'll be there, and it'll be all paid for.
Oh, I'll be there in money. I'll be there in.
Yeah, they have to ship him back to New Jersey. That's what he wants.
Really?
Yeah.
He wants to go get buried in Jersey?
Yeah.
Is there a cemetery? Is there a family cemetery?
I guess, yeah, by my grandparents out there down the shore. And I guess there's a few of them out there. His wife doesn't care. She's like, once I'm gone, I don't care. You can just put me out with the trash.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing.
Does that go into compost?
They have that now, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
You can literally just go get compost.
Yeah,
like,
mushroom sack. Right?
But it's crazy. Like it's because they show it. Like they have a whole process where, you literally, they let you decay and then they grind you up into soil.
Oh, wow.
It's like,
I didn't.
It's the whole.
I thought, in my mind was like, you're in a mushroom like body sack.
Well, they have that
and
too.
The fungus like starts to help break you down,
but
right?
That's green burial. Yeah. And I don't think they just put the body and let that do it.
Right.
But there is a place
where. Grinding is where. That's really what I'm.
Why is it any worse than?
It gets tough for me.
Why is it any worse than burning? I mean, but
yeah, sure.
But I mean, I think there is a place where I don't know if you get your loved one available in a package of potting soil. Like it's not an urn.
Plant them.
You can just you have a pot. Here's some
start to let them.
Well, that would be the best,
right?
I guess so. So I don't know. But yeah, he's going to go back to Jersey. My other grandparents buried in Jersey. I'm not even sure where they are. My mother.
You're like, I must be buried.
I've been there. No, I've been through it's over in like Elizabeth, New Jersey, next to a Budweiser factory.
Sure.
In the fucking worst industrial part of town. It's like this little Jewish cemetery tucked away with all the sagging graves. Because the pine box idea, it's like, well, you're going to have to fill in, once it falls into with a hole, you got to fill in the top a little bit. With your pine box.
That's not what they paid for. They got a good deal. They got a good deal on the pine box.
Yeah, the older ones are the ones that literally have about a 4-inch to 10-inch sag.
That might be nice to like go rest in.
Sure,
it's
put a rock.
Better curvature.
You got to put a rock.
Yeah, you put one rock. Yeah.
Are all your people still alive? Anyone dead?
All my grandparents are dead now. I lost my last grandmother at almost right on my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. That was it. It was the week. It was a crazy. It's a crazy week. She was 100, 101 years, almost 101 years old. Yeah.
Who's
my mom's mom?
101.
Almost 101 years old. Her first memory is remembering hearing a horse-drawn ambulance in Brooklyn in 1921.
So they were first-generation immigrants.
She was, her parents, yes, she was first generation.
But like her parents,
but that must have been... My great-grandparents were born in...
What, 1900? So she was born 1900?
1919.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then she died, so it was right around this time, 5 years ago, the height of the pandemic.
When's your birthday?
June 5th.
Oh, coming up.
Yeah.
What are you, 70?
I'm 71 years old. But
So it was right around this time.
It was right around this time.
Yeah.
My now wife Lily and I we got pregnant at the height of the pandemic. It was like a full mating in captivity.
Yeah,
and
I just talked to someone else who did that,
and found out on her birthday, May 29th, that we were pregnant. It was also the weekend of the George Floyd murder and the insanity of that weekend.
Yeah.
Was the weekend we found out that she was pregnant.
So excitement and
then helicopter. Remember how many helicopters there were? It was just and then Trump, did the Bible upside down backwards Bible.
The satanic signaling. If you cross reference Revelation and the Nostradamus, the upside down Bible, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's so funny to think of Nostradamus being not even wanting to pitch Trump.
Yeah.
It's just it's a bummer, it's hacky, and it's a bummer. I'm not going to do it. So then that Monday, I find out that my grandmother's on her deathbed.
But you were like, okay. It wasn't like, what?
I was like, how? She just turned 100.
This can't be happening.
This can't be happening. I talked to her 3 months ago.
For 2 minutes.
Yeah, and she was actually incredibly sharp, amazingly sharp, so fucking smart.
Yeah.
Her whole life, and such an interesting person. And then, so we told her my brother went to visit on their death. Again, it was that COVID time where nobody was anywhere. They were in Westchester. And my brother brought us, FaceTimed me with her as she was like, just like lying in bed, faintly breathing. And she was the first person that we told that we were pregnant. And it was really kind of an amazing.
And it got through?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, we told her, I go, we're about to have a baby, so get the fuck off the planet.
Yeah. You've been replaced. You can go. We got a new one.
Yeah, and then that was on like Wednesday, and Friday was my birthday.
And you didn't fly out? Couldn't fly?
She died. Yeah, no, it was too early.
It wasn't COVID, though.
It was super COVID, and she died that Friday. She died on my birthday.
Not from COVID?
Not from COVID.
Oh, that's good.
Syphilis.
Wow. She really was still pretty...
She was staying after.
100%.
Yeah.
Her mind was in a good place.
Yeah, her mind was in a great place.
Yeah,
Her whole body was... No, she just died. Anyway.
So that was that one.
That was that one. That was that week. That's my birthday. And every year there was a hawk that landed on her porch. Like the week that she was dying, that was lived in the community, but like landed and just sat on her porch for like a day.
Yeah.
And
when she died?
It was like the 2 days she died. And then
the birds know, man.
The birds know.
I did a whole bit about that after Lynn died, that the birds were kind of like hanging around.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I think if you're going to pick an animal to represent the spirit of a person, make it a fucking bird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, when it's like that dog across the street.
That fucking idiot dog.
That's my ex. That's my late partner.
Yeah. Just keeps eating his own shit.
She was so like that. Though.
Yeah, that's what she was. And then last year on my birthday, I was at my house, and there are hawks that live around us. And this fucking hawk that never comes to our house flew like 10 feet over my house for like a half an hour.
And you were like, Grandma.
I was like, Grandma, my birthday, and most importantly, the Trump Bible.
Yes. And I'm sorry about the Floyd thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, about a Jewish question. Because I'm really trying to source this out. So I had Modi on.
Yes.
And it was exciting. He's an exciting fellow.
Indeed.
And I'm happy for his success because God knows he earned it. He's very Jewish.
Yes.
And very Israeli and very, he talks a lot about Mashiach energy.
Mashiach energy.
Mashiach energy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know the Modi thing.
Yeah, I was just listening on the way here. I was getting ready.
So, he goes. And it was fine. He gave me a hat, the Mashiach energy hat.
Mazel.
And about a week later, I get a package. And in the package, there's a framed item. And before I unwrap the item, I read the card, and it says, Marc, I'd like to do it as Modi, I couldn't help but notice. Now, when I left your house, I saw there was no mezuzah outside. So I got you this, and it's a framed Shema. It's the mezuzah scroll in a frame.
Oh, okay. So it's not not the mezuzah itself for the
But here's how I read it. I'm like, that this is guilt. It's guilt driven.
Sure.
Like you shitty Jew. Are you afraid to represent by showing a mezuzah outside of your house? If that's the case, you shitty Jew, maybe you could put this inside the door. Yeah. Am I misreading that?
I mean, I think that's a mild way of putting it.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything. I thought it was brilliant, a sort of ancient Jewish guilt.
Yes.
How could you cowardly fuck? Why isn't there a mezuzah? Why don't you want the world to know where to come get you?
But as compromise, because I know how weak-willed you are, let me give you something that you print out, you put it inside, nobody knows, but it's there.
Yeah. So you get the protection that you don't deserve.
Yes. Which is, I feel like, a little bit of a conversation about what Israel and American Jews are.
Yeah. Elijah will have to come all the way in to realize he's at the right house.
He'll come and sit inside and he'll see it.
And he'll be like, all right, it's okay. He didn't have it outside, but all right. But let's get this out of the way. Because how do you feel about this movie?
I don't understand you.
Yeah.
How do I feel about it? I like the movie a lot. How do you feel about this movie?
Well, I watched it, and I don't know if I'm the right audience. First of all, I'm not a horror.
All right, can we use that for the poster?
Mark Maron.
I know it might be a little late.
I don't know if I'm the right audience. Marc Maron.
Yeah. All right. We'll take it.
No, because here's my experience. Because I know I'm not a horror guy. So I would put this in the horror comedy genre.
Sure.
Right? Is that what it is?
I think that's a fair way to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy drama. It's like a little, but with like a farce. I mean, I guess that would fall into the comedy portion of it.
Farce.
Yes.
That's the word I want.
Yeah.
Because I think you got to know that going in.
Right.
I really think it's important.
Right. Well, that's what's been interesting about sort of either promoting it and how they're promoting it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been interesting hearing people be like, no, audiences need to know what they're getting.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And so
you just thought you were watching like a rom-com-y kind of thing with me and Andrew Reynolds.
Yeah, it's like a gay rom-com-y thing, and this is good. This is not really a stretch for Nick, but finally.
Could we use that for the pull quote for the poster?
Not really a stretch for Kroll, but finally.
Yeah.
He's
Great.
free.
Yeah. Let me know.
So I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, this is cute. Mm-hmm. And then I text my producer. I'm like, what am I watching? Is this he goes, I think something happens.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
maybe that should have just been the trailer.
I think something happened.
Yeah. so then what happened? And then something happened.
But here's my whole thing is the arc of the thing. Mm-hmm. I know it's a style, and the sort of attitudes that you two have, sort of self-involved, only thinking about the baby on your anniversary trip to Italy, and this farce occurs. I didn't really know the framework, but obviously, once the first accident happens, we're in a different zone.
Yes.
And then
then we live in that other zone.
Yeah. But after all is said and done, there's part of me that still wants to frame it as just a regular movie.
Sure.
And when you look at it in that light, it's like those guys just got away with it.
Yes.
And now they're happy parents.
Yeah. Maybe that should have been the pull quote. Those guys just got away with it. And now they're happy parents. You're like, great. So we don't need to watch it.
Yeah,
we know what happened. But I hear you, and it was an interesting to do it that way was how would I explain this? Let me edit
Why'd you take the movie?
I took the movie because I love Andrew Reynolds. He and I know each other. Great guy, unbelievably talented. So funny.
Yeah.
And we worked together a bunch. He's been on Big Mouth since the beginning. And David and Brian, who directed the movie, I knew a little bit, and it's really based on their story. It's based on both of them, both trying to adopt a baby and getting scammed originally, and then finally being able to adopt their son, who's in the film.
That's a side note.
Yes.
Okay. It's I guess I was expecting that movie.
Sure, exactly. And then they had a nightmare vacation to Italy, which then they combined and be like, oh, we're dealing with this thing, and then we have this true nightmare vacation to Italy, which is like them getting stuck in a ditch like we do, in the movie, just like everything falling apart, and then they heighten it with combining them into one thing. So I took the movie because I knew them and I liked all of them, and it just seemed fun.
And got you to Italy?
And it was like, I'll go to Rome. And my wife and I, Lily and I, were like, we'll go to Rome.
Have you been there?
I've been there, yeah. I've been there over the years a good amount of times. And so it's like, oh my God, in your mind when you're a kid or when you're starting, you're like, maybe one day I'll get to make a movie and live in Italy and just be talented Miss Ripley. Did
you do that? How long were you there?
So we were in Rome for 6 weeks.
Oh, that's great.
It was great. However, we had just gotten pregnant with our second kid.
Oh, who died?
And some dog in the neighborhood, sort of,
the one that ate his own shit. It was a sign.
No, we were, and my son was not around 2, and he was we got to Rome.
It's a hard trip with a 2-year-old.
It was like a 2-year-old, and we had, and I was working nights. It's so much the movies at night.
What a fucking nightmare. So you got to sleep all day.
So yeah, and it was 45 minutes outside of Rome, and it was just wet, and I was wet the whole time, and then I'd come home at 5 a.m. after a night shoot for a month, I'd sleep for like 2 hours, and then my son would wake up and like was 2 and was done with our nanny and was revolting on all levels, and so I would sleep for like another hour, and then I'd go to the park with him and Via Borghese. Do you know that? Have you been to spend time in Rome at all?
Oh, once.
It's fucking DC. It's fine. I actually don't. I'm like, it's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
I just sold it to my producers. Going, I'm like, it lives up to your expectations.
Rome does.
Yes. Like if you've never been there and you go there, you're like, holy shit.
Yes.
Like all the art, all the architecture, all that stuff.
How long are you there for?
3 days.
Yeah. You go in, get it done.
You have the nice food.
Yeah.
You walk around.
But after
there's the fountain.
The fountain, yeah, of
Pope's
course.
house.
Yeah, it's great. The Pope's house. Did you go to the Vatican?
Yes. Did you?
Not this time. I've been before, and I was literally working the whole time. We were living like right near the Spanish Steps, like in that where it's like Times Square.
Oh yeah.
And it was a beautiful place. We had a really gorgeous place to live at the top. It was really amazing.
Yeah.
But it was like the busker started at like 7:30 a.m.
With the boom boxes?
No, with like electric violins playing Coldplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the worst when you... Like, it's incredible how quickly sound can destroy a fucking vacation. Man.
Yeah. Bum,
Like,
bum, 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 bum. You know, you're just like,
no.
And
you
it
can't
really did so.
stop
But I Rome is beautiful and a wonderful place, but it was not what I had envisioned in my head of what this was going to be.
The romantic idea of shooting a film in Rome.
Yeah, with my like wife, and we were going to like travel, and we did do some cool shit. But it just was
2-year-old. How pregnant was she?
She was like in her first trimester, so it was just
that's okay.
the time. No, it was not a. It was like it was a tough. It was but
like I know anything. No, first trimester.
Yeah, you're like
not a problem. Never had a kid.
You haven't had a kid?
No.
Physically, you've never had a kid?
No.
It's not too late, Mark.
That's what I hear. But I think it's too late for me to.
When did you decide that you didn't want to have a kid? Or did you decide?
You know, I think the decision happened when, here's what it really was. I'm not against kids, but the truth be told, I never once thought about having one.
Sure.
That was really it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And when I was married the first time, and she all of a sudden, you know, with no knowledge, I had no knowledge, she was taking prenatal vitamins. I'm like, I got to get out of this. So
yeah.
I have nothing against children, but I feel like I'm fundamentally too selfish and too panicky. And two, I can't trust my emotions.
Sure.
So, like, you know, all of it. But the fact that I never once
considered it,
in any real way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good call. I think that works. That works for you,
okay.
and it's better for your unborn offspring.
Yeah, my brother's got 3. Mm-hmm. He adopted 3 over time. And like even when I see people with kids, even when people tell me like, you know, it really is something and change your life, the whole sort of like cult of children propaganda, which is real.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, still not moving me.
Yeah. I have 12 nieces and nephews, and before I had kids, I was like, I'm good for right now. I kind of in my head, because it's so much a part of the family, that I was like, I assume I'll have kids, but I was not, until I did it, I was not like, oh my God, I'm itching to have children.
Right.
And then I did it, and it's been amazing. But also it is like, I am, for people who are like, who have not had kids, I'm not like, oh my God, you must have children.
Well, I think it does round you out.
Sure. Yes, it's a more complete life for me.
And I think that, you know, my fear is in that how I grew up emotionally, that I don't know that I could necessarily protect my kids from that. From, you know, lack of boundaries over, you know, worrying. I was brought up, it wasn't love as much as it was panic.
Sure. Well, it's love masked as panic, or panic masked as love.
I think,
it was just straight
like
panic.
It was just worry and like, you know, everybody, we were just appendages of very selfish people.
Save that for the funeral, Mark.
Yeah.
Save that for the Zoom eulogy that you deliver.
Should I respond to my dad's wife? Like, I just want to pitch some ideas for my eulogy.
Appendages
of a narcissist. No, but I think the panic and the worry. Like I have this anxiety problem anyways. I don't know how that wouldn't translate.
It would heighten whatever happens when you have children. It just becomes a mirror, and it heightens and magnifies whatever your shit is.
Yeah, well, you're pretty well-grounded guy, I think, emotionally.
I think so most of the time, but I think having children has made me understand a very different element of myself that I have, I think, subjugated for my whole life.
That you just had stuff down?
Yeah, just
Really?
like anger and things like that, like real rage.
Really?
Yeah. Or just because I see it in my small child, who's just like an amazing creature, little person, who is deeply and openly emotional in a way that I'm uncomfortable with.
Sure, that's why you mask it with your funniness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, let's deflect and move it this way at all times, and then he's just like
wide open. Yeah.
And then it makes me rageful that it was happening.
But not at him, just in general.
Well, sort of in general, but I was like that I would like raise my voice with him in a way that I haven't raised my voice with anyone in my life. And I'm like, that feels great. That's like real.
So what'd you do about that?
I told he learned to fucking shut his mouth.
He's a frightened kid now. He does not express himself anymore. Yeah. And that's the way I want it.
I've shut it down, and I'm happy about it, and we're very comfortable now.
Did you have to go to get help?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
I used to have a joke in my head. I was like, I got to talk to my therapists.
Yeah.
and I'm now like, I now see a multitude of therapists.
Really?
Yeah.
Like for
I have a therapist who looks like Franny McDormand.
Oh, that's good.
Which is awesome.
Solid.
Yeah, solid person. And then I
talk therapist.
Talk therapist.
And then you have a psychiatrist.
No, I don't have a psychiatrist.
Oh, you just have another therapist.
I mean, I got a guy on the side. Who
sure. If I need something,
if I need something, going on the road, and I need to stay awake
take
or whatever.
The edge off stay up and do some work.
Stay up or then take the edge off. Yeah. I got a psychiatrist for that.
You got a Dr. Nick.
Yeah, I got a special doctor.
Yeah.
And then I've got marriage couple stuff that we talk to someone.
Oh yeah.
And then like a parenting therapist who we talk to about our kids and how to talk.
It's interesting with all these therapists. Where do you find time for the children?
Well, we cross over in the lobby in the waiting room when they're seeing their therapist
at 2.
Yeah, we say hi. We sort of like we acknowledge each other. We like, hey, we all know we're all seeing someone, and then they go in for their session.
But you find that because I
over therapized?
No, I mean I think it's a luxury, but it's
a deep luxury,
and it's not a bad thing. But I have found, like, I just started going again recently.
Mm-hmm.
Because I decided, and Mulaney,
but everything seemed fine, Marc.
That's what Mulaney said. Like, I did his show. Mm-hmm. He was running shit at Largo, and I talked about like finally getting on some medication. Mm-hmm. And Mulaney gets out there and goes, "Wait, this is the first time Marc decided to try medication. Yeah. We've all been going through his life, all this, and he never
even gave us the opportunity to get himself on meds."
Well, I mean, I did a little bit way back, but not for long. But the anxiety thing was, starting to become kind of
debilitating.
Well, just sort of like what is this normal? Like, for some reason, my insistence that secretly everyone is exactly like me, that I'm going to speak to you as if you're hiding me inside of you.
Sure, almost as if they're an appendage to your narcissism.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
And I think I finally realized, like, no, dude, they're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you, which is fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Of course. But it's funny. I'm doing a bit on my show about that because I in the special I just shot about my feelings about SSRIs because I'm weird about them and I know they work for people.
Sure.
But for me, I just don't want to be, I don't want it to cloud my whatever.
Of course.
But I went to a psychiatrist to get evaluated, and I said I'm not comfortable with the SSRIs because it's just me. I know they work. I have to keep saying that because anytime I bring up my aversion to SSRIs, I get emails from people going like, it's really negative.
Sure.
But he suggested this other medication. He said it's a more focused dopamine thing, and it's primarily for you have obsessional anxiety. And it's for that. Mm-hmm. And then he says, it generally doesn't work for people. I'm like, that sounds like the right drug for me.
Yeah, I'll take
I'll take
that one.
The one that doesn't work.
I'll do that in a medium. And dude, fuck it. Let's just do 4 of them, and let me get out of here.
I think it might be working a little bit. I went back to him for a re-eval, and he said, "I think we're at 30%, and we're looking for 50." I'm like, "Great." He says, "Why don't you take a little more?" I'm like, "No problem." But we'll see.
Have you felt the side? Have you felt the cloudiness at all or anything?
No. It doesn't have that one. It may be a little dizzy thing, but no, I haven't felt that. That detachment. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's stopping some of the ruminating.
The question on everybody's mind is: it stopping those rock hard boners?
No, that's the other thing. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I have this shrink who I won't do Zoom. I'm going
in person.
I want to sit on the couch. I want to judge the guy.
Yeah.
I want to know where he's at.
I want to be on equal standing here with you.
But when I went to get the rechecked, just last week, he's like, well, the only other alternative is, the Prozac or something. Mm-hmm. And then he literally says, he goes, but that has the sexual side effects with an intention.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
he leaned in on that one. In person, you could really feel him.
Yeah,
move in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's part of me that thinks I think I'm done with that too.
Sure.
Maybe
in general.
Yeah,
maybe the anxiety. Maybe it's all connected.
Let's just get rid of the hard-ons and get rid of the anxiety. Maybe I can enjoy life.
Put it all down.
Those are my two big problems. My dick and my panic.
Yeah.
They're tied together.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was going to say they're absolutely not tied. There's no connection between the two. Of course.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Are you on medicine?
No.
You fucking pussy.
I am. I've thought about it at times.
For what?
For more like ADHD stuff. I can't
People say I have that. I don't think I have that.
Yeah. Do people have given you that? I think.
They say I have it, but the doctor didn't say I have it. He said obsessional anxiety.
I tried it over the years. I tried to get it over the years since like high school, and all my friends were on like Ritalin and Adderall. Like,
so you wanted ADHD?
I wanted it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it in college to study, and I wanted it because it would it was just a fucking upper.
Yeah.
But I didn't have. I was not overly drawn to it at any point, or like coke or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It just didn't. It was not a.
Yeah.
So
well, you're a good boy, Nick.
Well, but I'm functionally not in many other ways. But like the big ticket items were not like none of that stuff ever was that interesting to me.
Yeah.
So medication, no, but I do. I definitely. I mean, I do like not much, but like plant medicine.
Yeah, like what?
Like
microdose?
Microdosed a little bit, and that never grabbed me either. But like mushrooms and like ayahuasca and all that stuff.
You do ayahuasca?
Not on the daily. Well, because we are whatever you're doing, we are who we are, and we have to continue dealing with it. There's no silver bullet for any of it.
But I think that's the trick.
Yeah,
I think that if you can get yourself some space to accurately assess yourself, like if you get some separation from the symptom and you can sort of stand beside it and go like, all right, I can see that.
Well, and I think the psychedelics are a shorthand for that. It's like a little bit of a cliff notes to get in there faster than doing the actual work.
But what's because like I'm sober, so like anything that hints at that type of drug which is unregulated or unprescribed, that's a slippery slope.
Yes, of course.
But the microdose, like when you took that, what'd you feel? Anything?
Microdose, not much. I never did a regular microdose of acid or mushrooms. That didn't grab me so much, although I'm sure it would be interesting because I do find a certain focus in using those kinds of things in a way that are helpful, can be helpful. But that didn't grab me. I did do I did ketamine at Cedars-Sinai.
You did the ketamine where you sit there with the IV?
Yeah, I did that.
For what?
I did for just like trying to get a better sense of what was going on
in the world, in your life,
in the world and life. It was like what I was talking about earlier of just like
that is the controlled trip in a not fun environment.
Yeah, so like you're in an office and they lie you down in an easy chair and you get noise canceling headphones or I listen to music.
Oh, they let you listen to music.
Yeah, I listen to Emma Hoy, this like amazing Ethiopian pianist.
Oh yeah,
the
woman.
None. Yeah,
I have that. I have that record. It's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I find it very like meditative.
Yeah. Good record. Yeah.
So listen to that, and it was obviously controlled. It was like a Monday at like 11:30, and it's a very weird time to go do that kind of thing.
But like, does it just blow your mind?
Yeah, you go like you're lying there, and it's an IV, and then within 10 minutes you start to like trip. And I was never interested in ketamine. People use it like recreationally. I was never interested in it.
Yeah.
But this very controlled trip, all of a sudden in 10 minutes, you start to like go like, did you do acid and stuff before you got sober?
Yeah.
And like, you know that it happens and then like they control it out. And by the end of the hour, you're kind of like coming back up to reality. And then,
but do you disassociate? Do you like what goes on in your mind? What did you learn?
I learned it's like a shorthand to whatever is going on. That's what I found about those psychedelics, where it's like, come on, man, let's fucking talk about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
And
sure.
and it jumps you right
so
in there.
An elf pops up.
Yeah,
and says,
it's a
dude,
it's Ferrell. It's Will Ferrell as the elf, and it's Krumholtz as the elf.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, it's that's probably closer. It's probably Krumholtz coming into me from like the Santa Claus. Anyway, so
Krumholtz is like he is the Jew on all of our shoulders. We all have a Krumholtz on our shoulder going, what are you doing?
Yeah. Just do it. So what are you doing? Just do it. So we anyway, but it kind of really takes you right inside of it and then pops you out. But I did it once and it was a good experience. And then I did it again and I was running late and I was trying to get to my therapist after that. Like I was going to see a therapist to process whatever I had just gone through. But I get out on a third street and I'm like running late and I'm still like, I got to get into an Uber and I'm flip-flopping my feet around because I'm still on drugs.
Yeah.
And it was not, I was like, this is not the right thing. This is not how this should be done.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, I'm done with that now.
But so now the ayahuasca thing, now this is sort of a bougie, group, you go with
It is, it can be.
You do it with your wife?
I did it. I'll leave her out of it,
Okay.
but yeah. So I did it in a very, again, like there's the very, very bougie version of it where it's like some white shaman and
the guy who used to be a barista.
Yeah, exactly. There's that version of it, and there are other versions of it that are much more driven by people who are much more directly connected to the plant and to the experience of it in like, Central and South America. Yeah. And so it was a very intentional kind of group, and it was a really interesting, weird group where there are those people who you're like, this weird joke of a person, but then also also people who have experienced incredible trauma that they're trying to process and being all together for a very intense experience. But then, and the unpleasant parts are also part of the, it's the thing when you do those kinds of experiences where you're like, oh, it's all of it, right? It's like,
the vulnerability of puking and shitting yourself.
Yeah. And it's like the puking and shitting's there. It's a little bit, but it's also just like people like really dealing with some fucking demons, Yeah. And it's a very intense, but ultimately very, complete experience.
And was that beneficial?
Yeah. Just like really like, I was like, just sort of big things. Like you go in thinking you're going to be like, I'm going to think about, my relationship with my son or my marriage or whatever. Yeah. And then something sort of, at least in all these experiences, usually isn't that direct thing. It's like, just a much deeper thought about like masculinity or how I connect right now. I was like, man, I can't separate toxic from masculinity. Yeah. But how can one be a man right now that feels true to being like a man, but also with acknowledgement of where we are as a society.
Sure.
So it was like stuff like that where I'm like, that's cool. That's an interesting thing to sort of really grapple with in a way that I've never thought about.
I tried to do a joke about that. I think all men are on the spectrum of toxicity. That it's a broad spectrum.
Yes.
It starts like insensitive to murder.
Yes. Yeah. But at best it's insensitive.
At best. Yes.
So it was, and I was just like, anyway, so I'm not a proponent one way or the other of it, but I found it, I've enjoyed it and it found it very, I just feel like it's a shorthand to get to some deeper shit.
Yeah. I think the last time I saw you was at the gallery opening of your wife's installation and work.
Yes.
That was great.
Thank you.
She did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah. She's incredibly talented. She's a massive fan of yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very funny. You're truly the one comic who, so I think she started listening to your podcast very early on when she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do. And she said that like your podcast gave her insight into the idea of that you could fail along the way to success, like that you're so many of the conversations you had, but not less about you particularly.
No, yeah,
but mainly you.
Yeah.
No, but that it was really as she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do, and it was really enlightening for her, and so your conversations really propelled her towards doing what she does now.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, which is like landscape design and large scale botanical installation. And what you saw was like a visual art sort of.
Well, she had the installation.
Yes,
the mound.
Yeah, the mound,
and then she had a lot of other wall pieces.
Yes.
Which I thought were very good because I like, I studied photography. I studied the history of photography, and some of this stuff. I'm always very taken with artists with have a fairly specific vision, and that is their mode of expression. So, if the artist is good and has done their work, you're looking at fully realized expressions of themselves that have their own poetics to them. And I thought it was all very good.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I like going to art shows where I'm like, all right, I'm in the hands of a professional here.
That's great.
This is
so there's nothing worse than going to an art show and you're like, this doesn't
seem fully realized.
No.
Is really what it comes down to. Is that either through craft or skill or whatever, that they're not necessarily a laziness to it, but they didn't have complete control of their thing.
Totally.
But she does.
Yeah. Well, she'll be happy to hear that. And also, but ironically, that was her first show of that medium. That was the first time she had done it, and is now expanding what that is.
Well, there's like I don't know what they're called. They used to call them pictograph, or what's the where you lay things on paper? And expose it?
I think pictographs are lumens. It's like expired
lumens.
Film paper, and takes like plant material and then lays them out in the sun and light and captures the.
Figure it out.
It was also early botanical how they gathered botanics like back
to document.
To document like Darwin era.
She's playing on that too.
Yeah,
but there's so much like sort of experimentation and chemical sort of control that has to happen with photographic processes.
Totally.
Like, because you're dealing with light, you're dealing with photosensitive paper, then you're dealing with chemicals, and that whole balance, pushed me right out of that form.
Yeah,
too much.
You couldn't fucking bullshit your way through it.
No, you can't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, what fixture are you using?
Yeah,
the stuff that's in the thing.
The stuff that's there.
It's in the tray.
Let me tell you what the problem with these rooms is, though.
Yeah, I just realized I loved photography. I like taking pictures, but to really have a control over it, you really have to know. Light and chemicals.
So your obsessiveness didn't complement that.
No, because my obsessiveness is not of the nerd quality.
Right. It's not of the useful quality.
No, it's just sort of like I could have done this if I'd only done that, but this is too much. I'm going to fuck this up. There's too much to know. Like, how can I even think that this is good if I didn't know that part?
Yeah, so you're like, this is...
No, I wish I had the
no,
focus.
because there is that thing where I'm sure you've interviewed a million of those like obsessive people who put it into their art and make it useful.
Oh my God, like Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's
it's almost to the point where it's too much.
Yeah, gorgeous OCD.
Yeah.
Absolutely flawlessly beautiful OCD.
Yeah, and sometimes you just sort of look like, I think he should be doing still photos.
Sure. Right. Yeah. But then you got to fix them and you got to do that. But she also does this. She's doing this thing this summer in Madison Square Park. She took over a couple of the lawns and has designed like these outdoor installations on the lawns of Madison Square Park all summer.
Yeah. I know people hear that though. They're thinking, does she do topiary? No, it's not. It's different.
No, it's a different thing. It's a meditation garden, like a labyrinth.
Yeah.
And then a children's garden with like some stages, and we're going to do some like live reading stuff for kids and stuff in there, and then I sat there at the I was just in New York. I sat in her garden, because I was there for a couple of days and sat and just watched everybody walk through it. It was so gratifying in New York to watch like 50 different kinds of people walk through this one thing and experience it differently. It was really beautiful.
I love New York for that reason. I once read a book that changed my life, and no one can find the book, and I know it exists. Mm-hmm. It was really about the original concept for Central Park. That
before Olmsted got his stupid fucking hands on it?
Well, I don't know how far back it goes, but when they first started to build the city, they realized that, in order for it to function for humans, you needed, to sort of balance out green space. Like that countryside was a necessity.
Yes.
So this thing has to be of scope and of density and mystery enough to provide the wild landscape.
Yeah. But the idea that they would have enough vision to be like, we think it could get this big, so we need to make the park think about it on this scale that eventually this whole island will be covered.
Right. Well, I don't know if they knew that, but they were very concerned with that. It was essential to human beings to have a place that they could be in the wilderness.
Yes.
Or the land.
Totally.
Yeah. And I just thought that was so genius.
And it's true. And then, I mean, also the
same guy who did Prospect Park.
Yeah, I was going to say Prospect Park also is an amazing thing to understand that about Brooklyn too.
Yeah.
It's like they save your soul. That was the cool thing about Rome was that Via Borghese, that massive park was like really beautiful, like calming place to get inside.
It works.
You need it.
Like right when you walk into Central Park, you're 2 minutes in, you're like you're out of it.
You take a deep.
Isn't that wild though?
Really, I was there too. It really, you need it.
I just went to Sherman Oaks, and
you went to the Galleria in Sherman Oaks.
No, my girlfriend's out in Sherman Oaks, and there's this huge park that is primarily flat, but they've got like a couple soccer fields, baseball, workout stuff.
Is it Balboa or no? It's anyway.
Is it called the Grotto? Maybe.
No, the Grotto's a different kind of park.
Oh.
No.
Now, I don't know what it is, but like even that functions.
Yeah.
There's a purpose to it.
You need it. And LA is, unfortunately, you've got Griffith Park, which is an amazing resource, but you miss the central gathering park.
There's no central gathering here.
It's a lot of failure in design. It's a failure in design.
Yeah, I mean, you can do Runyon and see that whole thing.
Oh, I love to go to Runyon. I go and no, but it's funny. Runyon is the first stop when you move to LA or you come to LA, and it's just filled with people with so many demons.
Oh yeah,
just like the most.
Yeah, a lot of dreams hiking up that trail.
Yeah, so many eating disorders. Hiking up and down that hill of all types and frequencies.
I was there recently and I hadn't been there in years, and I'm like, this is it.
That was the.
You go to Runyon and you go to the Gelsons on Franklin.
Right. Yeah, it's
like a block where you can walk.
Yeah,
2 blocks.
Oh well, there's Runyon and then there's like the canyon, the Bronson.
Yeah,
the Bronson I did for many years. I did that hike for many years, like the Bat Cave area.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Out here, you got this brand library. It's the best.
Yeah, you got to do. I'm telling you, you got to do a bit about hiking or something like that.
I do a bit about it.
How was this taping?
Good.
Great.
Yeah, that closer was good.
Yeah.
You saw it?
I saw that. I heard you talk about it. I've seen I saw it at some point.
With the Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great.
We had to buy the song.
Oh.
And that cost a little money.
I bet.
Yeah.
But she could have charged you more. I bet.
I bet she could have.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't text Jack Antonoff. Hey, buddy.
Hey, bud. quick you. Got this bit.
I don't know if it helped, but it was fine. I thought the taping went great. That I really think.
Have you gotten like used to doing it now, where you're not like unbelievably nervous and panicky while doing it or leading up to it?
What was interesting about this one is the last couple, because I don't want to leave too much to cut. Like I really need it to be as close to the time that I'm allotted as possible, because I don't want to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be editing down in the post.
Yeah.
It sucks. You built it for a reason.
So like I worked this shit because I had to take a break from the tour. I mean, I've been working this shit for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And, I kept it kind of fluid and stuff was coming in, even days before.
Right.
That
You're like,
helps
this is
me.
fun and feels good and I want to do this.
Little beats.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to the show, like I knew the material was solid. But, then it just becomes things I ask myself, it's like, well, you're going to have to pace up a little and you're going to have to shift your pausing because, we got to get this all in. I just felt totally confident with all that shit. I was a little nervous about my shirt.
That's always the concern with you, for me. I'm always worried about the shirt.
What's Marc going to wear that he's going to regret? I have a whole history of clothing.
Yeah. No jacket, shirt, just shirt?
No, I locked in on the outfit early.
Great.
And I wore the fuck out of it.
Great.
I got to tell you, though, dude, the look of this thing, because I go into these things thinking, like, you can't reinvent these things.
Sure.
There's a guy on stage telling jokes.
Yeah.
But my production designer was a genius.
Really?
He's
That's
a
great.
genius. And like he had this concept. The reason I did it at the BAM Harvey, have you been there?
This is different than BAM.
Not the big one.
Yeah.
There's a smaller one. Seats about 800.
Oh, okay.
And it's an old vaudeville theater.
Oh, cool.
That they didn't they didn't restore it. They've kind of preserved it in its decay.
Oh, great.
And I just, when I saw it, I'm like,
This is it.
The back wall, the literal wall of
Yeah.
the theater looked like a Rothko painting. And I'm like, this whole thing has got to be about that wall.
Yes.
And my production designer locked in, and he had this concept based on Ketsuki. Mm-hmm. You know, the Japanese art of repairing ceramics with gold.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
And he just said that. He said, do you know what Ketsuki is? I'm like, no, but
Just
go do whatever you think.
Yeah.
And the thing looked stunning.
Great.
And the performance was, I think, pretty solid.
Great.
And we could cut between both shows, and you didn't see my fat.
Good. That most importantly.
Most importantly,
you didn't see my fat. You know what I think about still? Because I think about you talking about your grandmother, what I think about is you talking about your mother eating whipped cream.
yeah,
And
Cool Whip.
You Cool Whip.
Yeah, even
so
better.
when I'm like, I need my little sweets, I need my little taste.
Yeah.
A little shot of whipped cream really gets me through. And almost every time I do, I think about your mom.
I'll tell her.
Please do.
Yeah.
A
How's your
low fat, low sugar way to get a little hit.
Yeah, a little
Just
hit.
A little,
And it's
talk about
fun.
a little dopamine hit.
It's fun.
It's so fun.
Do you go you do that?
I don't know. I have a separate tank for that I just hit by the bed.
Not ketamine though. Just nitrous.
No. I got Kanye's dentist on board, so now
How are your folks?
they're good.
Oh, that's good.
They're older. They're getting older, but they're good. They're 84 and 82.
That's where my parents are. 86 and 84, 82.
Yeah.
82, 83.
I mean, it's the bummer for them is like people keep dying.
Yeah.
Everybody dies.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Are you serious?
Ah, fuck! I can't believe I'm the one who's going to tell you this.
God
Mark.
damn it, man. Next you're going to say there's no Santa.
Santa dies.
Oh, my God.
Santa died.
Yeah, well, that's the thing we're all trying to stave off. Mm-hmm. Do you exercise?
I do, but I took a much longer break than I wanted to as I cover my belly with my jacket. I started doing. I needed to get myself to do it again. So I started doing like Orange Theory, which is like group workout circuit training.
Yeah.
I needed to
you got,
be in public with other people and be held accountable to myself.
And it works?
It was working much better because like if I have a trainer, I'll like eventually bully them out of pushing me too hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, then I started doing these classes, and you can see everybody's like scores, like heart rates and calories, so you can be competitive.
Yeah.
And I was like, that helped for like 2 weeks. I was working out pretty hard.
How long ago was that?
That was like 6 months ago.
I got this Whoop watch.
Oh,
so I compete against myself.
Oh, good.
But I'm kind of compulsive, probably more than I admit. And I had this moment on Twitter today. I don't know what this was or where it came from.
It's called X. Just be respectful.
Oh yeah, X. So someone tweets like this piece. I don't know where she got it. I'm a Maron fan. This is weird and random, but I've heard so many reasonably very attractive 20-something women say he's hot or, ooh, I'd go with him. Mm-hmm. These are women who usually don't like older guys. I'm straight, but I can usually see why certain men are attractive to women. The first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck? Who, Marc? Really? Then I heard it again and again. I just can't see it with Marc. He seems mostly like an aging, grumpy, self-obsessed, neurotic, scruffy dude who is oftentimes negative with other people. He almost copies the hipster lifestyle at times, and his workout routine consists of trying to jog a little now and then. That's what bothered me.
Sure, that last line.
Yeah, like, I'm like, wait, I work out.
Yes, the rest of it is fair.
It's fair.
Frankly fair. And also, as he explains it, you're like, of course women would be into that kind of person.
That grumpy guy. But no, his positives are he's funny, a celebrity, B or C list.
Okay.
In parentheses.
Marc,
and
you are squarely a B list celebrity.
I know. And has some charisma. Some. Yeah. Other than that, I just don't see it.
Do you feel like, is it that you're not getting credit for working out?
That's what bothered me about the whole thing.
That, right.
It's like all the other stuff, I find.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but get the workout
don't take that away from me. Don't take away.
I'm very much an exercise
Do you
person.
jog every once in a while?
Today?
Really? Do you jog in public? Do you jog out in the world?
It's not good for your knees and shit. I drive on treadmill.
Yeah.
Because
I don't like also publicly working out like that. I don't want to be.
I do a very hard hike up there. That's
Yeah,
the whole.
a hike I'll do any day.
Yeah.
But
the jogging?
jogging in streets is like my worst nightmare.
I tried a new thing on the treadmill today because my trainer told me to.
What?
The sprinting and then sprinting for a minute
Yes.
and getting it down to 0. I never did that before. I usually do 4 miles, half walk, half run, up inclines. And today I did a new thing.
How'd it feel?
It felt good, but I get it in my head that I need to go an hour and I need to do 4 miles. And
See,
she's
you're not obsessive at all. There's no weird rules that you've created, no systems in place that have to be met or else it's a failure. There's nothing like that. In your
I'm
general makeup.
having a hard time knowing that I turned the rice off before we came in here. Yet 10 minutes later, I wasn't able to fluff it, and now it's just going to sit there.
And it's not going to be fluffed.
It's not going to be fluffed. I mean, I'll probably get through it.
This is. You'll slowly make your way through.
So I told
scoops.
you, the medicine's really working for me.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
So what are you doing with your talent? What's going on with Big Mouth? It's done?
Big Mouth season 8 is done.
And that's it?
With that show for right now, yeah.
That's a long run, dude.
That's a long run. We'll be the longest running scripted series at Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they know?
They don't know.
Yeah.
No, we haven't told them. We're gonna tell them though. We'll tell them. No, we did like 80 of those and 20 human resources of the spinoff, and then it's over. I mean, the funny thing with animation is it's like we finished a year ago, and now it's coming out this week. So like it's this weird distance that you have from it.
Yeah.
I'm I'm so happy about it. It was the greatest one, probably like one of the best creative things I could have ever hoped for, which is I made it with my childhood friend, with a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
And
now people have a lot of tattoos.
And now people have so many fucking tattoos of it. And that to me is what other bigger sign of that is. It's like my Rogan tattoo on my back.
Yeah.
Seth.
Yeah, Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I have a huge,
Seth Rogen's face on your back.
I have it's across my whole back because we're friends.
Yeah.
Because I love Knocked Up. I got this
you got to do it. You did it when you were in high school.
So but yeah, I'm so proud of it. It's done. We're doing a new show that will come out like next year.
Animated for Netflix.
Same team, called Mating Season, about animals dating and fucking in the woods.
Yeah, sure. That's a never-ending well.
Yeah, versus puberty, which is a specific time.
Sure, yeah.
But a continuation in a lot of ways of kind of the stuff that we did.
Do the animals have dating apps?
We have a thing for it. Yes,
okay,
we have a thing.
Keep it up to date with what's going on in the dating app.
And it's very fun in the animal stuff of like, all right, what is the human thing that how do we translate to the animal world in the way that like the Flintstones was fun, like you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
So we're doing that. That's the final season comes out May 23rd, and then I've been producing this other show called Adults on FX, like 20-somethings in New York.
Oh, is that on?
It's about to be on. It comes out on the 28th on FX, and then Hulu.
What's the tagline on that?
Adults is like it's like if you had like, Sex and the City or Friends, they were in like living in the West Village, and then the girls were like living in Brooklyn.
Right.
Now that period of time in your early 20s, these kids are living in like deep Queens at one of their kids' parents' house
in Forest Hills.
Yeah, and like Flushing. Flushing.
Yeah,
and Bayside area, an area that's not going to get gentrified, but it's where they could all live.
I lived in Astoria for years, and that's barely gotten gentrified.
Really? You think Astoria? I feel like has come up a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't been there. But when I was there, it was like there was never even a threat of it being gentrified.
No, well, and at that point, Astoria probably the most international, like the most languages spoken in the world.
The best. It was just the best. I used to get off that train at 30th Avenue, the N train, and after doing comedy, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, there were entire families shopping for vegetables. Are there no rules?
No. Yeah, so the show is like, and it's really about kind of Gen Z, those kids, but it's really about like codependent group of friends living in a house together, trying to figure out how to be people in that kind of grand tradition of that kind of show.
So how are you tapped into this generation? Are the writers 20?
No, I wrote it. The writers came to me like literally Ben Cronengold and Rebecca Shaw. They came to me. They're a couple. They've been together since college. They came to me like
Ben who?
Ben Cronengold, and Rebecca Shaw. They were Fallon writers when I met them.
Yeah.
They were when I met them was 5 years ago. It was like my first emails were them with like November 2020.
Yeah.
When Mulaney was just running around New York on cocaine.
Yeah.
And I got this call from them, and we just started talking about their show. And I was like, they just had such a clear vision for it. They're fucking funny, great writers. And it was like, yeah, that sounds like a show. And so I've just been helping them. We helped pitch it and then develop it at FX, and then I directed the finale of it, and just helped them throughout the process as much as I could.
So you've got a season in the can?
Season in the can, that comes out, the 28th.
On FX.
FX, and then on FX for Hulu, the whole season drops on FX.
How much directing are you doing?
I'm starting to direct a little bit. I directed on History of the World, and then I directed the finale of this, and starting to do that more.
You like it?
I like it. I love... when you're writing and producing, it's like you kind of are doing a massive portion of that job. So you're like, I guess, because I was just like, I don't like being there at call, and I don't like going on tech scouts. Like the stuff that directors and crew and people have to do. But I was like, maybe if I can move through that, I could actually, experience something new.
But do you want to do a movie?
Yeah, I think But it's like I love it, but I love doing all of it.
I thought you directed this one that I forced myself to watch, and then when I found out you didn't direct it, I'm like, why did I watch that?
Another rousing, another wonderful pull quote from Maron. Just for your listeners who maybe are considering going to the movie, it's much better than Maron is giving it credit for.
No, I will say that it was well shot, and it's all there, and that.
Again, another perfect pull quote. It's well shot and it's all there. Go to the theater to see I Don't Understand You, June 6th, Marc Maron.
It just took me a minute to lock in. It's
totally. I agree. It's really interesting. It's an interesting experiment in playing with audience expectation.
Yeah, totally.
And in this moment in time, it's harder to get people to lock in if something doesn't exactly make sense to them right at first.
Yeah, the whole "you're dead" thing. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's definitely funny things in there, and I think that because of my expectations, that when I look back on it, it's funnier than it was when I was watching it.
Again, could we use that one too? I don't know your fans well, but can someone just make can someone make the pull quotes for all of these quotes for the movie that I can put out on social?
When I look back on it.
It was just like all of them, or a trailer where it's all, you see the trailer and it's always says, it's like, instead of it being like the Daily Beast being like dementedly funny, it's just all of Maron's quotes from the movie. I will put that out when it comes.
Okay.
It will be
I don't know if I have those kind of fans, but maybe. Maybe a couple. I think that's a young fan game.
Calling all you, what the fuckers.
Yeah, you young nerds who want to help out in this area.
When did you pull out WTF? My Chupacabra was in the intro for your show for a long time.
Yeah.
WTF.
Yeah, WTF. Well, we looked back today, like you were on one of the full episode we did was like 112, real early. Mm-hmm. And then there's like 2 in-studio Chupacabras and 1 live one that my buddy Brendan still laughs about. We talked about it today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can't do that character anymore, can you?
No, not really.
No. It's gone.
But what a run! But what a run it we had.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So, are you going to try stand-up again, or?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try. I'm finally gonna try.
That bit you did about your mother, like taking compliments from your mother, kills me.
Yeah, thank you. It was.
It's so funny.
Yeah, is that how you feel with your mom?
What was the setup again?
It's just how we're so deeply impatient with our moms. No shorter fuse with anyone in the world.
Right. No shorter fuse.
Yeah, my mom was like, I'm going to forward you an article about the Art Deco movement. It's like, why would you do that, Mom? You know, Art Deco is my least favorite architectural movement.
It's just that like, I think that's helpful in the sort of assessing rage thing.
Yes.
That
literally
that tone of, at any age, at some age you would hope it would stop, but that sensitivity and reactiveness to your mother that is infantile, but still exists in your old man body.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It doesn't go away, and I think it's more extreme with mothers than fathers. I think there's just
you don't want to get hit.
Emotional hit. You know what I mean?
Fathers are scarier.
Yeah, fathers are scary, and also
you can work your mom.
Yes, but you're just so emotionally intertwined with her in a way that it hits some deep, like, kind of core thing that makes you explode.
Yeah, but there's also the fight, and this is about when you have kids, that there's also the point where you're trying to get out from that, and that, I think that tone comes from, like, I just want to be my own person.
Yes.
And if I can tell you anything as a father,
please.
Is that because I was told is like your mother and your parents did not allow you to separate and be yourself.
Sure.
And that's something they have to do consciously.
Yes.
That you have to let them fail or have their own sense of being start to evolve. Because if you get in the way of that, then you have a lifetime of, like, Mom! Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I just had my parents. I was on Colbert in New York, and I was like, it was around my dad's birthday, so I was like, why don't you guys come to Colbert and then we'll go out to dinner?
Yeah.
And I went, and they were backstage with me in the green room. Again, talking about this, like, why didn't I just be like, watch the show and then we'll meet up?
Yeah,
so they're in my green room, and I'm doing the pre-interview with the producer, and my mom starts to, like, weigh in on, like, and I became again like a 6-year-old child. Like, before I'm about to go on national television in a pink suit. You know what I mean? I was like, but I did that to myself. She's just, you know what I mean?
I never let anyone come.
I don't know why I did.
I'm better at it now because I honestly don't really care. But it used to be like, if you'd let them watch you, in real time, like, you're going to be reacting to that.
Of course.
It's going to be hanging over you.
And you have so much other stuff connected and attached to those people. My least favorite shows are hometown shows oftentimes. Like, they're the least, you know what I mean? Because you can start to see, you can feel people who thinking about you and you.
Well, yeah, or what you think they're thinking. I mean, like, they're usually kind of, whatever they say afterwards, they're in awe of it. I mean, you're doing it.
Yes.
So even if they're like, nice shirt, dude.
Yeah.
What
you like the buttons? It's not because I put on weight. It's just simply the thickness
fabric.
of the fabric. It's a Western shirt that I got from a special place. This guy's a wonderful. I lived in a town in Wyoming. I'll as you look at the computer, I'll make this long.
I'm not looking at the computer. I'm watching the levels because we're yelling. Go ahead.
I lived in this little town in DuBois, Wyoming.
You did?
For a couple summers, and it was a cool little kind of dude ranch, real Western town. It's like 80 miles
family
east of
went
Jackson.
there?
No, family friends had a place there, and I was like, "Can I go work for you?" And they were like, "No, go work at." They were a ranch. It was like be a ranch hand. It was like they're like, "You won't be good at this."
Where's that TV show?
I don't know. Here it is. Let's do it. Here we go. This is the soft pitch, Mark. But I lived in this town and worked at this restaurant, and across the street was this old general store, Welty's, and it was like owned by the old family who's like owned this town.
The Weltys?
The Weltys, who were the wealthy, but it was closed. I don't know. The father died in like say 70s or 80s, and it was closed for 30 years. Except they would open it at that time 1 or 2 days. Like a year.
Yeah.
And you'd walk in and it was all the original, like, Wrangler Lee 70s in its original, all the, like...
Could you buy it or was it a museum?
Yeah, you could buy it. So I had all these, but 70s pants are too tight.
Yeah.
Maybe those wouldn't fall down your ass.
No, they'd stop at some point. Yeah. I can't get them to not fall down my ass. I just don't like them up over my waist.
Right.
What am I going to do? So, all right. So where's the story going?
It's you and black youth.
Yeah, it is. People always wonder, like it is a style, but it's not intentional.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm just always pulling up my pants. That Fine Arts made that documentary about me, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. My pants are falling down this entire fucking show for an hour and a half of this documentary.
Are you conscious of it while it's happening?
Sure, I'm always pulling them up, but there's at some point, like I'm bend over to get something out of the oven. He's shooting it. My entire ass is out, and I'm like, dude. my entire ass is out. He's like, well, we can, pixelate. I'm like, no, they're waiting for it.
Like your
this
literal
is the payoff.
This is your literal, not underwear. Your literal ass.
Yeah. And I'm like,
oh, you gotta go.
We've been working towards this the whole
now
doc.
I'll tune in. Now I'll tune in to watch it.
How much stand up you doing?
I'm doing it when I can. I'm like, it's just, my life is a little. The young kids don't make it easy. But if I could, in an ideal world, I would be like doing it like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah.
But when I do, generally I try to like stack them if I can. I finally went to New York and went and did the Cellar and the Village Underground. And that little like run is very nice.
And how'd you go for it? You good?
It was so fun. I barely ever performed.
Yeah.
Like, because when I'm in New York, I'm like doing some other show. I'm not like running spots, and it was so fun.
Yeah, because you can do like 9 rooms in one block.
Yeah, and the crowds are fun, and it's a little like it's just not as tight. It feels a little hotter.
Oh yeah, well
know?
New York crowds are a little hotter.
Yeah.
But
I'm used to like New York theater crowds, which are fun, but like
different, older,
different. So I'm doing it. I'm trying to figure out like what it is right now where I'm like, am I working towards like a special or an hour, or I'm doing a bunch of stuff this summer, some dates in like Canada. I'm doing a couple things with like Mulaney and Birbiglia and
oh my God, what is that? You mean
Fred.
just stand up?
We're doing like some festivals in Canada
as a 3
for it's like Mulaney's show and we're all doing spots on it basically.
Oh, yeah.
And we're doing some of those. I don't know if that's the right framing of it, but that's how it feels to me.
Yeah, Mulaney show, you and Mike.
Yeah, me and Mike and Fred popping
Armisen?
on. Yeah,
Armisen?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we'll do it. We're doing a few of those, and so I'm just sort of always building towards like whatever the next assignment is.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm like, and maybe out of that, like I'll start to be like, okay, this now feels like something I could go tour with more on my own.
Sure,
just build it out.
So I'm still stuck on like how come we're not on the show?
Well, will that feeling ever end?
No.
Mm-mm. I mean, if you want to drop in, we're going to be in Halifax.
So
if you're in Halifax and want to drop in, we would. I'm sure love to have you.
All right. Well, next time, we had a dinner without you.
I know. I heard.
And it was fairly productive.
Yeah. I really had this moment where I was like, should we talk? Have you ever just openly talked shit on the air about people that you talk about in private?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
And be, I'll dance around it, but it becomes apparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a joy to listen to.
Yeah, I did it with, I was talking to Liza Traeger.
Uh-huh.
And, Birbiglia came up. And he's always challenging for me, Mike.
Yes. I mean, I don't say that yes.
Yeah, and that you're saying for me, not for you.
Correct.
For you, he's just great.
Yeah.
Fine.
We went to college together. I've known her for my whole life.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't explain anything. But, no, but I told, and I've talked about this with Mike.
Sure.
And we left it in. A lot of times my producer's like, that's not necessary. But we left it in because it was sort of getting Liza to a certain point. Well, because I said it, and it's not anything that him and I haven't gone through. My producer's like, you should give him a heads up.
Uh-huh.
So like he's not blindsided.
Right.
By it.
Sure.
But I did do it. I said, hey, just so you hear it from me and not someone else, I was talking with Liza Traeger on my show and you came up and I was honest about how I perceived you throughout the years. I don't think it will be surprising to you, but also wanted to be upfront about it.
Uh-huh.
More grist for our mill when we talk, I guess.
Yes.
And then immediately I get, can I call you?
Mm-hmm. He wants no paper trail of words said.
Well, no, then I got to be like, fuck, now I
Yeah.
got to fucking own it and talk to him about it.
But then does it help to talk through it versus a text?
Yeah, because so much of what I do is like,
It's verbally, it's all tone.
But it's also just this emotional dumb reaction. And immediately after I say it, when it becomes real, I'm like, God damn it. Now I got to.
Sure.
Sure. Fuck. It's not even, why'd I even do it? But he said, look, it's fine. And, we talked about it. And he's like, but I mean, I'm going to come on because he's going to come on to promote a special.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'd rather not do that for,
have that conversation.
Again.
Yeah, of course. You're like, but I got this OCD, so I need. I'm kind of obsessive about this.
And I'm like,
stuff.
of course. I'm sorry. What?
But like,
I'm fine with him. I'm fine. And I can't even quite explain it to you.
Of course.
I could.
You could. And then one of us will text him afterwards. No. I mean,
Look, he's a good comic and, there's just, Nothing's easy for me, and I don't think it's easy for anybody else. But there is a sort of way that he kind of moves through his stand-up, and I know it's all very well crafted. But, for me, everything's very life or death. And I'm like, he's just kind of blobbing his way through it.
Oh, you think so?
No.
I know. He works so hard.
I know. It's so hard.
But I know, I understand it's so interesting because I literally, I met him when I was a freshman at Georgetown. He cast me in like a sketch show.
Yeah.
And so I've known him throughout and he immediately got out of college and like was on Letterman within the year.
Yeah.
So he has had continued success in a way that was like, wait,
all
what?
this,
How?
all this is the dossier. Everything you said is me like,
yes, of course.
That's, I mean, what the fuck is that?
Well, what about my happy childhood? We haven't even talked about my happy childhood, Mark.
Well, I give you a pass because I find you so entertaining.
Thank you.
And your happy childhood, I don't begrudge you. I just can't look at it anymore.
Right, of course. Neither can I.
You put it on Instagram.
I know, I put it on Instagram constantly. I'm trying to mine
just this well-loved fucking Prince kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Trust me.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
But Mike, I know he works hard. I love him, and there's just this fundamental thing that it's fine.
I can't. Well, the thing is with him and others who you've known for a long time, the people you came up with, you're just like, of course, it's all of it. There are these people who, if they stick around in your life, like in various ways, like the guys I'm sure you came up with, and the ones who stick around, and you have complicated relationships with them, and you can love them, respect them, and also be frustrated by them.
Sure. Friends.
Yeah. Friends who eventually kind of become family in some weird way. You know what I mean? We're just like, this is.
Well, that's good that you have that group because, whoever you're talking about, I came up with, I don't have any friends. There's no
nobody.
There's no I don't have a family, right?
Right.
So, I imagine you and Mulaney, you go out with the kids and the wives and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, and with Birbiglia too.
Sure.
I have none of those.
The reality is we all see each other unbelievably rarely because of lives and stuff like that. So that's what you're finding as they get older. Is you're like, oh, I don't see anybody ever.
Oh, good.
Unless, and that's what the nice thing about doing stand-up is like socializing is going.
That's why, it's your whole social life.
Yeah.
Like when I go to those dinners with you guys, I'm like, wow, that's so nice that they include me. And then I realize they just want me to talk shit about me.
No. No, but it is. But it's like
Maron's a loose cannon.
Yeah, you want that. You want that loose cannon.
Sure.
No, but you don't. It's as opposed to like us being backstage talking, and then one of us running up on stage to do a spot, and then coming back or going to another spot. It's a condensed version of what that could be at in a green room.
No, but it's not though. It's nice to have dinner with everybody.
But it's hard to. Do that
this time we went to Craig's. You missed Craig's.
How was it? And that would have been interesting.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
as opposed to that horrible Italian restaurant.
I know.
Enough with the campy whatever reason we're there.
Yeah,
it's like Craig's is where we should be.
Yes, of course.
And it was fucking great. Everyone had good food.
There's a couple of campy places in LA that I've now decided I'm like, no, this is not worth the fucking shtick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I don't care
Let's
about
just
that.
go get a meal where we get the respect that we deserve.
That we demand.
Yeah.
And then you get to look at funny people for interesting
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
I like to see fun
The food's
people.
okay, and they're happy you're there.
Again, if they want to use that for their pull quote.
Which one?
The food's okay and you're happy you're there. Come to Craig's. Marc Maron.
The food's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, it's good
Did we
talking
do it?
to you.
We did it.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
And
Can
now-
I just talk about Israel and Palestine real quick before we get off?
I'm out of tape.
No, I'm kidding. I got no more data. I can't. The AT&T took off my zeros and ones.
The reels are running out.
Yeah, no, we're good.
There you go. Again, that movie, I Don't Understand You, with all of my blurbs, comes out June 6th, and Big Mouth Season 8 is out on Netflix right now. Hang out for a minute, folks. Hey, listen, you can go check out the time Nick Kroll and John Mulaney were on the show together. That was back in 2016 on episode 743.
We had started talking like these guys.
Yeah.
We had seen these two guys at a bookstore at the Strand.
Of course.
And they were
with their own bags.
Yes, they each had their own
Old
tote bag.
Strand bags.
The old Strand bags, which we used to say was Strand is 8 miles of books.
And 12 miles of loneliness.
And so we go in there and we see these two guys buying their individual copies of Alan Alda's Never Have Your Dog Stuffed.
Hardcover.
Hardcover.
Just came out. Great book, by the way.
Great book.
I just talked to Mr. Alda.
Yes, I know.
Wonderful conversation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He's such a a real actor and artist.
Yeah.
In a way that
and a
we're
curious
not.
guy,
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
sweet
thinker.
guy, and thinker, and he's like he likes science.
Yes, he hosted 13 years Scientific American.
Yeah, he's very into making sure kids like science.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine caring about that? That's
Yeah.
so
I think-
noble. I
It
really
is.
respect that.
I like that's why I don't have children, because I don't care.
'Cause you
I
don't care.
Can you imagine pointing the stars out to them and lying and making up names of the stars?
So we see these two guys buy that book, and then we just immediately kind of become fascinated with them, follow them out of the Strand to like a diner, coffee shop.
You're
where
following them now.
We are now following these
They're
two
great.
men,
Yeah.
and we follow them, and then as they sit at a coffee shop and both start reading their copies of Alan Alda's book, Never Have Your Dog
Not
Stuff.
talking too much, but clearly like conjoined twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just became a focus point of guys that we've been interested in.
Right.
This was also the time of like, what was this, 2005? This was when a lot of people through the New York Times had just heard about Jon Stewart or something. Right. It'd be like,
Right.
people get their news from Jen Daly. Yeah. You'd be like, oh, you're the worst.
Yeah.
That's available for free on all podcast platforms. To get every episode of WTF ad-free, sign up for WTF Plus. Just go to the link in the episode description or go to WTFpod.com and click on WTF Plus. And a reminder before we go, this podcast is hosted by Acast. This is me playing my new favorite guitar. A not too old Gibson SG, white one. Boomer lives, Monkey and LaFonda, cat angels everywhere.